Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Mishima process and I'm going to do a little demo on how to do it, the materials you need, and then how to do it. So here we go. You're going to need a piece of pottery that has been bisque fired. So this has gone through the first firing. And you can tell because it has that sort of noise. If you don't know, this is something that hasn't been bisque fired. Right, it has a different sound to it. It also has a different feel and a different color. Okay, so you want your bisqueware. You need some underglaze. I'm just choosing to do black underglaze. You need a little bowl of water and a sponge, and you also need a paintbrush. Okay, I've got my paintbrush that I didn't have before, and I poured out some underglaze, and I did it on this magazine. It has the shiny quality to it, so it's not going to soak in as if it did on newspaper. You can also put it on a plate or in a bowl. It's up to you. But essentially, the Mishima process is going to fill up all my indented areas. So I'm going to take the underglaze. I don't necessarily need to do the whole thing, put underglaze on the whole piece, because right here, there's not really any sort of indentation. So I'm just going to put it around these raised pieces. In the little crevices. And then you want to let it dry. And when you're applying glaze or underglaze on bisqueware, it dries incredibly quick. So let's say I've done this whole piece. Actually, I've done most of it. I should just finish it. Okay, that was it. So I'm going to let it dry, and you can see that it already is pretty dry. There's a little bit of shininess glistening over there. But I'm going to take my sponge, put it in water, and just squeeze out all of the water. I want to have a damp sponge for this process. And what I'm going to do is wipe away the underglaze that's on the top layer of underglaze. And because I had a, excuse me, I had a texture, you can still see some of the canvas texture on this cup. All of that underglaze is going into every little teeny tiny mark that's on this piece. So I'm going to keep rinsing out my sponge so that it's not black from the underglaze. Because as you do this, right, your sponge turns the color of the underglaze. And you can do it to any point that you want. So I just did it really lightly on these popped up triangles. I could take all of that underglaze off, or I could leave it so it kind of looks tarnished and antiqued. But this is the Mishima process. You apply underglaze to bisqueware in all of the indentations, and then you wipe it away, and it stays within your incised lines. I have this overlap right here, so I'm going to, there'll probably be a lot left in there. I'm going to try and get in that little area. It's like when you find an old coin, like a coin that's actually silver, or anything that's silver, if your parents or grandparents or people that you know have silverware, right? It tarnishes, it needs to be shined and polished, or else the whole thing turns dark. But if you just choose to shine it lightly, the top gets shiny, but the indentations stay tarnished. So I tried to get all of around this little triangle, but in the process, I took took all the underglaze off of that. So I might reapply it just to that little spot and do the process again because I liked how it looked with a little bit left on it. So let that dry. Right, kind of like that. Right, that is the Mishima process. This is how it ends up looking.